how to use Google Earth for geoscience. Welcome to the next video. Second part, we will look on the Google Earth and explore our Earth, maybe not just our Earth. And we'll continue this video, talk about some properties and functions that Google Earth Pro offer us. So watch my first video if you want to learn basics about the Google Earth, how to use it, why and how it works. And today we will closely look at historical imaging in Google Earth, something I promised to talk about last time, and we'll explore some fun sites maybe, and talk a little bit about geomorphology and how we can observe it and learn it using this just very simple free tool, Google Earth Pro. So the first thing I want to mention, in the previous video when we talked about sea level, I have to clarify it. I didn't mention correctly about sea level. So remember last time when I opened my sidebar and I have my layers, my terrain was off. So when you turn off your here at the bottom, elevation will be always 0 because you don't have terrain included in this imaging. And while we use Google Earth without terrain, sometimes it's nicer just to see this image itself, how it will be flat. And secondly, sometimes we have bad connection, so it's faster. Turn off and images will load it faster. And then I turn on terrain, so it takes a little bit longer time to load. And then if you look here, for example, in the Caucasus and Caspian Sea, and if you look on my bar, so wherever my hand is traveling around, it will show you the actual level of the ground. And if you, for example, in the ocean or sea, like we're here right now in the Caspian Sea, it's actually going to show you the deepness of the ground under the water. So the sea level should be 0, as we know. This is the average sea level around the planet. We consider it as the baseline, 0 meters. So everything plus, like 100, 200 here. For desert, this little desert is 80, 90 meters sea level. Then we're going down a little bit, going high in the mountains, and so on. So if I go to Caucasus, I'll go up to 2-3 thousands and so on. And the highest peak of the Caucasus will be somewhere there, just over 4,000. So this will show me the actual elevation, so topography included. And then when I'm going to go all the water bodies, they're going to show me whatever the elevation. So for example, here's the water body, but because it's in the mountains, it's going to be about 2,000 average here, a little bit lower, 100 meters. So you can imagine there's a big drop. And as I teach you last time, if I go into my topography, see that this is much lower, 100 meters sea level, and then we'll go high into the plateau, about 2,000. I don't have exaggeration of my topography like I did last time, so that's how it looks like. And then if you go into the whatever sea water bodies, it's going to show you where the bottom. So you see somewhere here, for example, it doesn't show me, so maybe we don't have correct data, or maybe it's very shallow. Let's check on the ocean. So let's go in deeper places, and you can tell, yeah, here we have island above 0, and then straight away we drop in because we have here the two plates meeting and creating this trough. Obviously one subduction zone plate going under the other. We expect very deep trenches, and they go up to 4,000, you can tell here. And then average level of the ground here. And in geology we call it gypsometrical curvature. I'm not sure how they call it these days. In my years when I was a student, that's how we call it. You see there's a very deep ones going up to 8,000, so there's somewhere here, Marianic Trench. That's what it is. That's where the deepest is here. I see when I'm very high over the ground, it doesn't show me. So you can check your geography and gypsometric curvature using this. And it's an amazing place. Like you have very deep parts of the ocean up to 7,000 meters and more. And then you have these islands. And in my video about islands, I talked how they formed and why they formed these particular locations. So let's come back to sea level clarified. So the moment is off, I'm going to show you. The moment is on, and let's check Himalaya. Himalaya is very high. Pamir goes up to 7,000-8,000 peaks. Nepal. So let's look on the next properties of Google Earth. So what I didn't touch last time, it's the historical imagery. And the first thing I want to show you is really kind of just a fun, not so much about geography or geology, but it's more about humans. So if we go to Solomon Islands, and I lost myself, of course, so I have it in my history, and we go to this place. You see, it's taking me there straight away. We'll go to this place, and it's a Solomon Islands, so I'll turn it off so it's not disturbing us. Solomon Islands, beautiful Pacific Ocean, amazing place, and very, very tropical jungles. And we have the Shipwreck here, so probably you already seen it a million times, but I just love it. So this is a very cool site, I think, and the way the ship is lying there. So apparently it was the liner that drowned into Southern, so you kind of crashed into the rocks. It's very weird how close to the shore it is in this kind of like bay, but you know, I'm not anyhow sailor or anything like that, so I will not have no idea how it's crashed there, but there could be a particular reason why it's happened. So if I'm looking at the modern image, you see there's a high mountain, so it's very deep, straightaway ocean. We'll go up to, it doesn't show me here, see, so we don't have good topo map for this area, but it does show at the ground. So you see, it depends where you have access. So sometimes it's just the elevation 0, so it should be very deep here, I suspect. And then we have this big liner, it's called MC World Discoverer, and it's Tulagi, Solomon Islands. I think Tulagi must be the place, and it's crashed and just lying down here on it, slightly on the side, for last already 20, almost 5 years. And you can see that this is modern image. So when I click on this icon, which showing the clock in back, it's mean you can do the historical imagery. So whatever images uploaded into Google Earth or been preserved, because sometimes they remove some images, you can see here. Usually they save the images which kind of more or less good quality. So it gives you this bar straight away. I don't know if you can see it on my program. So it's this bar. Last image was December 24. So it's basically, I don't know how correct is it. Yeah, it could be just very recent. No, it actually says February 22, 24, February of this year, so about a year ago. So we can see the shapes here keep switching. If I keep pressing R, give me more view. There's a vegetation growing in it, and you can see there's like little piers. This is all the bottom vegetation, weeds, and you can see the beautiful beach, a lot of palms. This must be very tropical, amazing places. Some houses, this looks like quite a new building construction, is quite overgrown. There's some probably collapsed trees or something, and the beach, and continue here. I've never been in Solomon Islands, but it looks like it's an amazing place to visit. So apparently the shipwreck here for a long time, and it's become so popular they even built this thing. So when I look through the history, so I just click backwards, it goes to up to 1985, and obviously we should see there's no ship back in the day. So let's click further back. So then you go, show you July of 22, that's how it looked like. See already some vegetation, a little bit different angle. We'll have piers. Then we're going more back 2018, 11, so November. And boom, look, there's no this little piers, whatever, this little stairs, and there's no this blue house. So I have feeling they built it about that time when tourists start flashing, because I read on the internet they say there's a lot of tourists going there and photographing on this shipwreck. Maybe they're making some kind of movies as well. You see? So and there's no house 2 years ago still, and boom, we have this more housing. Maybe the people stay there like accommodation, and they go and photograph themselves. There's this little house there and these other houses, and already piers 2 years ago, and in 2018 this house is there, but there's nothing there. So you can see that, and you see what's happening with the ship. It's a little bit getting more worn out towards modern days, of course, and more vegetation. Let's go back. Yeah, so this something happens here. It must be just a reflection from the water when the satellite was taking the image. And you can see the ship is not so much lying on the side. Maybe he was a little bit more falling, to the side. And then this is 2017. Again, the house is there, but not big house, no piers. A little bit better condition. 14. You see he's standing more upright. And you can see this was a cloudy day. 13, maybe 12. Yeah, you see it's kind of lying on the side, and 12. Maybe it depends on the tide as well, but I would not expect. I think he's sitting there in one corner. Maybe it depends of the angle of the image. And then 10, just comment on me, what do you think about it? And you see sitting here, 2010, 2009. Bad image. No, it's not so bad. And then we're going backwards, 2008, 2008, 7. So you can see how we can explore the clouds. You cannot see anything, and again cloud. Yeah, 1985, it shouldn't be there because if it's happened in 2000. But if you just turn off, it will just straight away put away everything and bring you on the best image. Usually it's the latest image, but often it's not the latest. Usually it's the best from the latest images. So that's an amazing place, and you see this quite a big village. So people going there and specifically photographing this shipwreck. And I don't mind to go see it too. And I think it's very amazing for like making movies, TV shows, this kind of stuff, or probably Instagram must love it. So tell me what you think about this. And you can actually, I looked, and if you travel around the Google Earth Pro, you can find a lot of shipwreck, a lot of suspicious things which kind of disappearing and reappearing. Sometimes it will be because somebody's trying to wipe them off because of something military, or then bring it back. So if we go to Japan, for example, speaking of military, I think there's like an island here, and people say there's like a navy base. It looks like a navy base, like kind of industrial. And if I go to this, somebody posted it in social media that they find like a Titanic here. People laugh, of course, it's not Titanic, but there's like a bay where they probably seen a lot of like industrial buildings. They probably keep them. I think it's like a military battleships or something, but you can correct me, I'm not understanding the military stuff. You see they have something here, so it's obviously some kind of base, but we're not about that. We're about that if I go through history, you can see it also depends on the angle of the image. I might sometimes see something and again goes to 1985, so 12, 24 is showing, but it's actually image of 23, and then we go 21, 2018, and then you see you have this ship, and it looks like some kind of big battleship because it's like a little boats look kind of tiny, insignificant. And then we're going back one more, 2016, and it looks like it's the same ship, like, but in the same time people reckon that it's something under the water. I personally, I don't think that it's under the water, because when I looked on this person profile who posted it, they have like some kind of pile of stuff here, and this, you see this area with some kind of pile of stuff, which very weird, I don't understand what is it. And now you see this pile of stuff kind of blaked away, and the ship almost disappear. It could be there's a ship lying under the water, but I don't believe that it's so deep in that area, because look, and the rope still connected. Because look, if we look in a forward image, or one before, I've seen it, yeah, there's nothing there. In 15, in 10, look, it's sitting, it's exactly the same one, and it's sitting with this rope. So I suspect on this image it's at some kind of battleship, and then it's again reappear, or maybe it's been drowned, I don't know, but then it's reappeared here, and then they decided to blur it away, because but at the same time it does look like it's not such a good condition. Maybe it's been wrecked. But then what's happened here? Do they blur it away, or they drown something? So I have a question for this position if you have any ideas. But it shows you, oh look, there's something more. What is here? And it looks like they you can study this kind of stuff and find a lot of stuff. Archaeologists finding some shipwrecks, but this time thing is amazing, and it can show you amazing thing. Yeah, look, in 1984 they didn't even have, oh no, they have they have image of this island, but it's so blurry, you cannot see anything. Sometimes whole islands not exist on Google Earth for particular reason, if you can imagine which particular reason. So you can play around, like this some kind of very mountain serpentine road taking you to some secret location. So you can do this kind of stuff, and I'm not going to take your time anymore. And let's, for the rest, look in something more geographical. So I'll take you to the central we call Central Asia basically, to the Aral Sea. So we started from here and we come back here. So that's part of the land here, which is between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. This is, you can see modern whatever image. I don't have time lapse now, so if we look at the time lapse, 2020. So this image was taken 2020, and usually takes it in the bottom, it says 2021 here. So this used to be the big sea, Aral Sea, say Aralskое море, and that's the Caspian Sea, which thank God still exists. And then we have Caucasus, and we have Black Sea with Azov Sea, and then you go through here, and that's where Constantinople and the famous strait, Dardanelles, and they take you to actual Mediterranean. So we know that there was a sea just about 70 years ago. And when this was the part of, if I put the borders and roads and places and borders, you would see that they used to be the part of Russian Empire back in the day, and then it was part of Soviet Union, because Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, and Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan of the Soviet Union. So it was one sea, and this sea is disappeared, yeah? And you probably heard about this. This one of the biggest ecological catastrophe on the planet Earth that we experience, we can see so clearly, and I know there is a much more all around the planet, and we maybe will look at them later. So let's, on example of that one, see how the historical photography can show us what's happening. So the Aral Sea used to be all the big lake here, we call it sea, but it's actually a lake, and it used to be just the beginning of 20th century, the fourth biggest lake in the world. And the reason was because there's two rivers, Amudarya and Sirdarya, who was bringing the waters, one from, I believe the route was somewhere, it's going somewhere here, and the second one comes from the Ale Valley, which I was talking about. The Ale Valley is like a source of it, which I was talking to you about last time. What is our Ale Valley? Yeah, Ale Valley. And yeah, that's one of the rivers taking the route and feeding the sea, it used to. And the second one, yeah, feeding from Tian Shan Mountains from Kyrgyzstan. So I think I do need to, it's gonna go through, see Kazakhstan, the Kazakhstan border is here. I probably will turn off places. So this is Kızıl Arda region, and this is Kazakhstan, and this is Uzbekistan, and this is a little bit Turkmenistan as well affected. So it used to be sea, and let's see in the historical photography. And again, I click this magical button. I will look in the whole area just to see what's happening. And see, we have a lot of photography going back to 1973. Let's go straight to 1973 and look what we have here. So that's our Aral Sea, or this big lake which used to be, and here this areas here, all green areas, that's been irrigation artificially made in Soviet times to feed a lot of mostly cotton production, cotton farming. And then if we shift it further up through the time, for example 86, you see it's kind of start in 86, that kind of drying out. Then 97, you start having the middle part appearing, and it's kind of separates the lake now. 2001 doesn't have good image, or maybe just take forever to load. Let's go 2003, for example. It doesn't want to load. Nope. 2004. Yeah, it's not so good loading, so we need to find what to load. Sometimes many images just doesn't want to load, or maybe because I'm over such a too big area. Yeah, so the only big good image here they can load, it's 2009. I don't know if it's the connection problem or just they don't have anyone, but just have a look. So what's happening in late 50s, beginning of 60s, the Soviet Union has this big project to grow a lot of cotton and something else in this area. Mostly it was the cotton, and the cotton is very good and have a high demand in the world, because all the clothes you're wearing, most of it right now, maybe not, but made of cotton. So they were growing it here, and originally it was very dry areas, and they start creating, basically using these two big rivers and creating network of irrigation. You can see here how it goes. It's just along the river, yeah. It's amazing network of irrigation canals. Soviet Turkmenistan here, you can see, and they will just You see everything is green and there's everywhere channels going through. So it's all irrigation of that area. And of course the villages pop up in between because there's so many people start having their jobs growing this cotton mostly, and other cultures, but mostly it was cotton. You can imagine how much water was taken away from these rivers before it reached its entry point, the final destination, the Aral Sea or Aral Lake. Yeah, look at that. And this image 2009, let's have a look on 2024. Just turn it off. Yeah, still there. It's not like totally dry out yet. But look at the river. But look what's happened. This is all, if you zoom in on every section, so it's enormous amount. And there was a people, like whole villages, cities growing there. Look at that area. Look at that area. This is all irrigations. How many villages here? It was amazing, of course, for this Soviet republics. They were very prosper. Many people prosper. Well, maybe not the locals, but somebody who controlled it, they prosper. And there was a big production. People already back in the day, especially more like educated people who concerned about the planet and environment, they were saying that this is gonna cause the catastrophe for the Aral Sea. And nobody, people maybe didn't take it seriously, or maybe didn't want to consider it as a serious threat because they were thinking, well, maybe it's going to happen, but in the future, maybe will something happen and we'll work it out, and we'll bring water from somewhere else. And they were even seriously considering to bring the water from Siberia. And there was a big project. They want to reverse all these big rivers that flow in from these mountain kind of ranges up through into the Arctic Sea or Plena, all these rivers. And they were like trying to reverse them. Well, not directly reverse them. You cannot reverse river, but you can build a system of channels and dam and redirect the water here. But another thing that happened, that the glaciers in the Pamir mountains, it was mostly fed by Pamir, Tajikistan. Here, they all start disappearing in the last 70 years, dramatically. So this project, no matter how, will be have a dead end, because the glacier is disappearing. There's only like just a seasonal water, but it's not enough to just irrigate all this desert. And there's a desert here for big reason. It's very continental climate. So you see, you have the masses with the rain and clouds. They all coming through Europe and western part of Russia. Caucasus protecting it. From the south, you have Iranian mountain hills, all protected it. From here, we have Tibetan plateau. And from north, there's not much air masses coming, but by the time they reach here, they'll basically lose all the water. So that's why here, if you looked on Google Earth or any other map of the globe, it's very dry area. Somebody is suggesting, there must be big meteorite crashed into this area, and there's just a remnant dust. People have a lot of theories about this area. But it's just very simply explained if you learn climatology, meteorology, and what is a maritime climate, a continental climate, and on top of the geography that happens here, it's make absolute sense. You see how big the mountains here, so we go here up to a couple thousand, and that's very dry area here in Saudi Arabia, of course, this peninsula. So we have a particular reasons of this. Climatologists will tell you, and geographists. But in the same time, so it doesn't matter the glaciers will disappear or not. When you have such a irrigation, extensive irrigation on the way, not much water reach till the lake, no matter how different your climate. But it's also very dry soils here, a lot of wind, and they also used a lot of fertilizers, which modern days maybe we will not use it. Maybe in some places on the planet people still use, but like in the modern standards we will not be using this kind of stuff. But in the back in the day they did, and they probably didn't know much about it, how it's harmful for the people. Similar like back in the day, people 50s, 60s, 70s, they were smoking all the time, drinking alcohol during the day. Pregnant women were drinking alcohol and smoking. They just didn't know how harmful it is for the mother and the baby. Similar here. So you can learn about this Aral Sea, and its catastrophe happened because now this is all saturated with the salt, because when the water evaporated, salinity increased dramatically, and it's very dry area, and all here, and a lot of dust come and fertilizer material, and there even been some military base which have some kind of pollution as well, and waste which been there entrained as well. So it's become a very toxic area, and because of the climate it doesn't kind of wash through, and the environment doesn't take time to recover. Ecology very bad. So first of all, there's all the life died there, and there was one of the biggest of that region supply of fish. There was a huge factory of manufacturing tinned fish and stuff like that. You see, they're called Aral Sea. And these days, all this ship, there was a big, even in the Russian Empire, before even Soviet Union, there was a big fleet of Russian Empire. There was all this infrastructure supporting it, and now the ship just end up to be sitting on the dry land. And I heard that these days it's become kind of like an important place for tourism and stuff. People like this kind of stuff. Like people go to Chernobyl and spend hours there and photographing it. I forgot that it doesn't show you pictures. I was looking through the pictures. Yeah. So that was the ship I was talking about, and the camels. So the ship just used to be water, and then now it's just sunk. So a lot of people want to see this kind of environment, and I don't know, maybe to see somebody called Sphinx, maybe to see the like post-catastrophe. Maybe people think it's artistically attractive. Some people doing it for just interest or great photography. So it doesn't matter, but some of the areas become a little bit more popular on the map, and some people come back because they're supported by this tourism, but it's quite a remote area and very poor people there. And how many tourists want to see the dead sea? So yeah, there's a lot of water. So they were trying to preserve it, and I think it's like dramatically start disappearing after 70s towards 90s. It's almost disappearing. 80s was the main catastrophe. I remember even studying at school and teaching students about this. But the Kazakhstan did a good job, so there was a lot of projects to preserve it. But it sounds like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, they were like, okay, we don't need to preserve it because there's some oil deposits and gas deposits or whatever. I think it's an oil deposit. And they decided that it's easier for us to do exploration when it's not the sea, when it's the dry land. So for them, it's like, okay, we don't so much concern about the sea anymore, although for local people, they have just to move out of there. No more fishing industry, no fish, no water, and pollution. People have problem with lungs and some cancerous disease and stuff like that. But Kazakhstan is trying to kind of save the remnants of this north part of the sea, and they doing something important for it. So they built the dam, and they're trying to regulate a little bit the water. You see, there's a fish in the water. So there's something being done. You can watch documentaries about this. And sorry, it's just the images. You can watch documentaries and there'll be more information, but it's still standing as a big example of what's happening if we decided to, without understanding, change the environment. If you go to Wikipedia, and I'll try to see if it's show me, there's a historical imagery that's been produced with more high resolution imagery. So that's what I kind of was hoping to see in the Google Pro, but it didn't want to load. So you see how it's changing, and there was a lot of you see this middle part, it's all appeared, and it's actually, I read, it depends on the snow flow. So sometimes we have years when there's more snow accumulated in the mountains, and in the spring it's melted and bring a lot of fresh spring water. Some years we have a little bit of water come back to here, but then it disappears again. And you see the changes in this northern part as well, and it's how it's been preserved just because people did something for it. But this part totally disintegrated, yeah. So they don't, unfortunately, yeah, they show from 2000, so that's exactly the imagery which we're missing in the Google. 2010, 12 here at the bottom shows you. Where are we? Let's go watch it one more time. And you see this yellow color, a yellow line all around. This is the original borders. Used to be original borders, there used to be some islands in the middle. one of the islands was used as a Soviet kind of military grant for testing stuff. So, and it's after it's dry out and it's connected with the mainland, it's become even worse, spreading the pollutants around. So anything like that is always bad news. And there's a more mapped people mapping what's happened from 60s. So from 60s it started, this project. I thought like from 61 to 3, and you see 60 pre-irrigation, and then how it started disappearing. And I was telling you about the Alai Valley, because when I was there, do you see the remnants of the channels? I a long time couldn't understand what are they, like you see these lines. You can say ancient aliens, my favorite ones, ancient civilization. I'm laughing. A previous video talked about this when we were in Alai Valley, and I did notice, it took me some time to understand, I did notice this absolutely interesting lines going through everywhere. You can see these lines. So all this, it's actually dug by people, canals, and they were doing channels, or whatever we can call channels. They are, you see here and here, and I walked through them, and I even mapped some of them. And they are used to be this part of this project. So they were supposed to be part of this project. So they wanted to do it same here, so feed the rivers and, I don't know, plant cotton or whatever they wanted to do in this valley. It's very weird, because most of the time of the year there's snow. You see they did it here. Yeah, that's all irrigation. Locals living off the, you see this huge cut through. So they were starting these projects here too. Most of the locals, they do live off the, we call them nomads, so they do use the animals to pasteurize. In the winter they go home, and you see here it's already happened. This is amazing. Look at this irrigation, it's enormous. By the time the river, so this is very sources. You see the Lenin Peak is a big peak, Oktyabrski, all these ones. Well, I call them old way, but sorry the locals, because the new names I cannot remember. So they feeding all of that, and they going through all these valleys, and by the time they reach Aral Sea, which used to be sea, they lose everything. So you see this river going through here, and she feeding every field, every farm on the way. And of course nothing, not much come back, come to the river, so it doesn't, just not enough water to come back. And you see how it's interesting here, like it's just basically just disappears here, like in some kind of Australia. Look, this whatever left, it's a Baykonur here. That's why they didn't make so much irrigations here, because it was in Baykonur. You can have a look here too, what's happening. It's a Korolev, the great space engineer. And yeah, that's another image, for example. So you can see how they're trying to irrigate some bits. No, it's very dry land, and you can see how much, not much used to be, you see flow into the sea, like how much not left. So you see this all being irrigated. So that's the great example, and it's very interesting. And if we take our ruler and we just measure from the Aral Sea Lake till basically Pamir, there's about over 1,000 kilometers. So how much water lost on the way? So I know I spent too much time on it, but it's an amazing subject, and you should explore it. And obviously with the melting glaciers, this a problem now everywhere. And I know people who worked a lot in Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, and other countries, and even China, and they have problems that glaciers disappearing. And first of all, there's no water to irrigate, farms and stuff like that. There's no water for people to drink. It's not very good. So what people should do. So for today, this is what I want to talk about. So I'll just turn off all my layers. And Aral Sea, you can read about it. It's very interesting, very impressive. Yeah, there's a last thing I want to show. There was, if you go to Wikipedia page about Aral Sea, usually go in English, And there's an interesting kind of collection of the satellite images, and you can see the curvature of the Earth in these images from the space. So it's August 90, it's 85. See how full it is. 97, 2009, 10. You see it explained with part of the eastern basin reflooded from heavy snowmelt. Yeah. So they're trying to preserve August 2024. August 2024, see nothing in the middle. They're trying to preserve this north little bit because it's important for people, public, cities, and the remnants of the animals who preserve there. But majority of the life, and it's explained here in the beginning, you can read, there was a huge amount of life there, fishes, it was a very big supply. Unfortunately, they all just die out. And that's what can happen when we decided to change our face of our planet without understanding the importance for everybody of it. Next time we'll look for something as well, and maybe we'll explore something outside of the planet using Google Earth. So just support me by sharing, liking. I love to spend time in the Google. Maybe next time I find something else interesting.